Okay, good morning and welcome to Iyun with Benzion. Today's daf is Kesubos daf Chaf Aleph number 21. Yesterday we talked about a question, a famous question. Rav Chaim Brisker asks, even though the Gemara says in Yevamos that Mipiyam L'Mpik Savam, we don't accept testimony of Adam if it's written down. A star works. You can give a star in the base and you can collect with the star. How could you do that? It's Mipik Savam. We don't believe that. It's not reliable, especially with Moti Mamon. Right, I bring a loan document. If this guy owes me money, I give it to Basin. I can collect. How could that be? So I explained yesterday. The answer lies in the fact there's this whole parak is talking about kiyum ashtaros. Gemara says explicitly today. Explains how you do it. You're mekayim the star, meaning even after you bring a star into Basin, the Gemara says in Yodchadam Beis, the Edom Aksum Mashtar Yidusim Basin. It's like they're already investigating Basin. They're full Edom. However, you still need to mekayim the star. The Gemara says the end of Chaf Aleph and Beis, it's derabanan. So technically, the Raisa it could be believed. So that would be a problem from that Gemara. Piyam l'biksav, the Raisa shouldn't believe kiyum star is only derabanan. Technically, if you don't have kiyum star, it should be valid Raisa. We'll explain in a second how maybe kiyum star is both Raisa and derabanan. You have to be mekayim the star. You have to come in front of Beis and certify that these are really the signees, the people who sign the star, really the authentic people. This is really their signatures. Now, when you have a star, and you assume that PM B'Ksavim says star is a written document, there's a lack of validity to it, right? What is the lack of validity in B'Ksavim? B'Ksavim, like I explained yesterday, the reason we don't rely on something that's written is because when people speak and it's live and they give testimony, they say exactly the facts, what happened, what they remember. When you put something into writing, so you generally try, because it's finalized, it's in print, right? A lot of times you'll either subconsciously or maybe even consciously exaggerate things or say things not 100% correct because you want to rationalize how it looks nice on written paper, right? When you're forced to write something down, you're forced to alter your perception of your mind. That's just the way it works. Subconsciously, we do this in order to make it make sense. On paper, it has to make sense. People are going to read it, it has to make sense. So therefore, we're worried a little bit about the validity not of the Eidim, but the validity of the money being lent. Right? Was the money really lent or not? Now, there's a machlokus in our Mishnah on Chaf and Beis, and the Gemara explains this on Chaf Aleph and Aleph, about whether the Eidim on the star are made, the people that the Eidim that are Makayim the star, that validate the signatures, are they being made on the signatures themselves, or are they being made on the Manish Rashah? Rebbe holds they're being made on the signatures, which sounds like that the problem with the star, the shash shakranas, that it might be a false star or not exactly correct, is because the Eidim falsely gave testimony over here, and we're making sure these are really the Eidim over here. Sorry, not the Eidim falsely, maybe it's not the real Eidim, so you're making sure, you're validating it's the real Eidim. But if there's real Eidim, we assume the star was written correctly. But we pass like they're Rabbanan. No, the Rabbanan say Amana Shebashtar Me'idim. That's why even one person says one person says this is my signature, and the other person says this is my signature. It's only two Eidim, and normally you need two Eidim for anything, not one Eid. One Eid is not normally believed in the Torah. However, it's believed over here because they're not being made on the validity of the. We're not concerned it was a forged signature. We're concerned that maybe the money or the amount of money wasn't correctly written in the star, or maybe there was no loan, or maybe it was a different amount of money, and they wrote it falsely. A manish of a star, they're being made on the actual validity of the star. As I mentioned, there's a problem in peak savam, 8 p.m. peak savam. The svara of the Torah is that there's a chash. Even though there's an assumption, there's a chazaka, I would say, that whatever in the star is probably correct. However, midol raisa, I'm suggesting over here, midol raisa, a manish of a star me'idim, without the kiyum ashtar, we don't know that it's a chazaka, and you can't be multi-mom with a chazaka. You need a raya, you need something stronger, you need proof. So what about the Gemara here says kiyum shtar is derabana? It sounds like you don't need a midol raisa. If I'm saying that a shtar by itself is a problem midol raisa, so how could the Gemara say kiyum shtar is derabana over here? So I want to be mechalik over here on the bottom of Aleph and Beis. The Gemara says Eidas HaChodesh is deraisa and kiyum shtar is derabana. Eidas HaChodesh, there's two different types of Eidas. This you're going to find throughout Shas. We're going to talk about this. There's two general categories of testimony. One testimony is where you're testifying about the veracity of what happened. Did it actually happen or not? Your edus re'iyah or raya, to see what happened or to prove what happened. That's the whole point of the edim. It's just to validate when you give them money, when you lend money to someone. Yes, you actually lent the money to the other one. There's a different type of edus in the Torah, like by kiddushin or by gerushin, or by edus hachodesh, where the point of the edus is not necessarily that we're sure what happened, to verify what happened. It's more to make an event, a maimed, or to make an event. You want to make it a public event. You want to make it spectacular. Edom are not just for the veracity of what happened, but Edom also make it significant what happened. You have Edom come from a basin and say, this is the new moon, and they say, Makudish, Makudish. So you're creating a chalos over there. When you're creating a status, a new month is the new status, because all the Yom Tovim are based on that. You need a public event. That's something bigger. That's just not just proof. You need an event, and that's why the Rashbam says, it says in the Torah, Amdu Shnei Anashim, you have to have an event as having two people stand in front of a basin of three people. That's an event. And they say Makudish, Makudish. However, when you have Eid Nasa Dayan, by Kiyum Ashtaros, you have two of the Dayanim recognize the Chasima, so they're testifying for the third one. So Eid, the Dayan Nasa Eid, or Eid Nasa Dayan, while they're Eidim, they're being Dayanim, you lack the publicity of a big event over there. But because Kiyum Ashtaros is only the Rabbanim, that's okay. We don't need it to be an event. We just need it to be a proof. So, when we say Kiyum Ashtaros is the Rabbanan, we're talking about the veracity of the Eidim. Because when it comes to, like I said, a shtar, the real suffix by the shtar is whether the transaction really happened or not. Besides for that, we have Eidim. The Eidim, we have proof. Eidim written down in the shtar is good proof. It's 80% proof, I would say. However, there's always a chashash. Maybe it was forged. So the Gemara says Kiyum Ashtaros is the Rabbanan here. We're talking Eid Nasa Dayan, and that's talking about the veracity of the signatures of the Eidim. So the veracity of the signatures of the Eidim, that's their Rabbanan. And therefore, Eid Nasa Dayan, in terms of whether we can validate a Dayan being an Eid or an Eid being a Dayan, they can serve as both functions at the same time, because it's only the Eid that's needed over here is only a proof of what actually happened. It's not necessary to make an event over here. So therefore, an Eid could be a Dayan at the same time. That's okay. But the Gemara leaves out the bigger picture that the shtar itself, right? The Kiyum Ashtaros is derabanan in terms of verifying the signature that they're not forged, but Kiyum Ashtaros is also d'oraisa in terms of verifying that the loan actually happened. So it serves both functions, Kiyum Ashtaros. Here we're talking about the Eidos, Eid Nasa Dayan, to verify the signatures. To verify the signature, that's derabanan, and that's only chashinam lemiyuta. However, in terms of verifying the actual loan that happened, that Kiyum Ashtaros is d'oraisa. It's really d'oraisa. We're concerned about that because you only have a chazakas, an assumption that the loan actually happened, or the amount that was loaned really was loaned. So therefore, you need Kiyum Ashtaros to actually make that d'oraisa, and by Kiyum Ashtaros d'oraisa, that would be enough. Hochsak bebeita would make it 100% proof. In order to collect even mishubadim, to collect even, we'll see, collect even from property from the borrower that has a lien. The properties that he has a lien on, he can collect from even those mishubadim, not just from the borrower, also from people that he sold his fields to in the interim during the loan. He can collect from those people also, and that you need pretty much 100% proof. And that's exactly what Kiyum Ashtaros does. So it works on a level of Raisa and it works on a level of Rabbanan. And that is the explanation of the sugya, how it gets around. Piyam Piksavam is not around. Kiyum Ashtaros is Doraisa and Rabbanan. It's a big chiddush. Hope you enjoyed. See you tomorrow.